Yes, tonight he used to sit on the chair I'm sitting on. He's the host of Good Evening Ghana on Metro TV. He believes in opinion journalism and is always sharing his opinions. Even in his show, he does editorial. So editorial journalism, not in a newspaper, but on a television program. What kind of style is that? Is he an agenda man, Paul Adom-Otchere? Paul, welcome to Point Blank.
Thank you very much.
Do you miss Eyewitness News?
Oh, I listen all the time. Yeah,
I mean,
I like the concept.
Do you miss sitting here and...
well, not really, but I enjoy it.
Oh, why don't you miss the show that you crafted? Nice.
You can't do the same thing forever.
But you're happy.
Yeah.
You've been monitoring it from afar.
Yeah, I listen.
How is it looking like?
Oh, it's good. It's good.
Nice.
It's still leading, isn't it?
It is. It's actually how always leading. How is Good Evening Ghana?
Oh, well, we're on it. We're trying to make it work and make it better.
When you talk on Good Evening Ghana, you use we, W-E, in reference to you. Explain to us why you say we when you are the one who is running the commentary.
Because it's a team effort. I mean, we do. I mean, if you watch, and that's why we started filming the behind the scenes, and we'll continue to film for people to see. If you watch the kind of arguments that we have before we decide on what you can say and what you cannot say, you will understand why I say we. And sometimes, and I bounce it off a lot of young people. And even when they are not available, we call them and put them on speaker and said, I want to make this point. And they'll say, no, you can't make that point. Somebody will say this, somebody will say that. So by the time we come together, we have a consensus or we have a majority opinion.
So it's not a poll agenda that you execute on Good Evening Ghana?
Oh, I initiate because I lead and chair those meetings. So
you're
I
producer
initiate.
And presenter, or you're presenter alone? Which one are you?
There's no single producer. There are quite a few people, some of whom are not even regular. So depending on the topic, we'll call Bright Simmons and say that we want to say this. Is it? Can we say that? Is that the situation? That we do a lot of that. So there's a production team.
Okay, so you call people who help you production who are not necessarily coming on the show.
There are those who are regular assistants to the production situation. But I'm saying that when we have a matter that I can remember somebody who has either written something about it or has developed some expertise about it, we would usually call and reach that person and say, we want to discuss this, and this is the point we want to make.
Okay, you get personal sometimes. Why do you do so? Is that journalism?
I don't get personal. I don't know what you mean by. I mean, I don't understand what personal is. If I'm referring to something Martin Amidu has said, I don't think that is personal. I'm just referring to something he has said, and I'm disagreeing with him based on some research or based on some facts or based on some historical analysis. And news, if that's so, then news is personal, because fundamentally news is about events, people, and places. That's what news is about. Every news, current affairs item is about events, people, and places. So when it's about people and we think it's personal, then I'm not sure. It's personal when you are addressing somebody not based on something he has said, not based on an opinion he holds, but based on something that is personal. His head is short. This is that. He's this. Or you talk about a woman's body and that kind of thing. But if you are addressing something somebody has expressed as his opinion and you are disagreeing with it, however vehemently you do, I'm not sure that's personal. That's what news is about. It's about events, people, and places.
But when you take Manasseh Azuri-Awuni, Ghana Journalists Association called him Journalist of the Year a number of times, more than once, I believe it was. And you take his opinions and take his work and put him on your show and shred him into pieces. That is personal. That's
still analyzing somebody's work. That's
attacking someone's integrity and attacking someone's personality because they are doing a job.
Well, I don't agree with you. Attacking someone's personality is attacking what it says personality. It's not attacking his opinion. Attacking his opinion is different from attacking his personality or attacking his outputs, his outcomes after some work. It's different from attacking his personality. So you will realize that when we talk about that, and we have to make reference to the person. I say my friend, I said my colleague. But then when I'm dealing with what he has put out, which I think is reckless or is not journalism, that's not personal. And I think we have to draw a distinction between attacking his personality, which would mean you're attacking his person, That's what it means. What constitutes a human being's person? What constitutes his personality? If you like, his disposition. That to say that he's arrogant, that to say that he's too humble, that to say that he's a talkative. Those are the adjectives that go to describe somebody who is personal or who is running a personal commentary upon another. If I'm saying that what he said is unconstitutional, that cannot be personal.
But you see, your viewers don't agree with this, and you're saying to me, lots of your viewers actually, when we advertised that you're coming on Good Evening on Point Blank, said, please ask Paul, is he and Azuri chasing the same girl? That sounds very personal. That's how people say it. It's almost like you put him on the table every evening.
That to be.
And there are times when people see your poster and you have his photo that they're like, oh, tonight is going to be an Azuri show.
Yeah, yes, but I take that to be a joke. As we say, to whom much is given, much is expected. And you know that Edmund Burke had talked about the fourth estate of the realm, the media. The responsibility on media people is higher in terms of what you put out. Because what you put out is most likely to be believed. These days, when a story pops up online, and I call you and I say that the story has come up and they said XYZ, you're probably going to ask me which website. If I mention some websites, you just laugh it off. If I mention it's on Citi Online, you take it more seriously. So journalists in mainstream media have a higher standard in terms of the thing that they put out, because people are most likely to believe it. What we call in journalism the believability quotient is very broad with journalists, practicing journalists in mainstream media. And therefore, journalists have to be more careful if they have to put out something, whether it's opinion, whether it's information, whether it's a news report. And that is why the cost of libel is higher on the publisher than even the person who said it, the one who publishes, because the one who publishes operates a platform that owns a believability quotient. That's the point. So if a journalist says something, which is, so there's a juror situation, all of us are concerned and worried about it. And then people are writing anything they know about Nigeria or anything they can hear. So if I go on Facebook, if Kofi Mensah goes on Facebook and says, my brother called me and he lives in Nigeria, and he said that it was a mob that attacked Kaka, well, that's okay. The punishment for that person is less than a regular journalist who publishes that a mob attacked Kaka, because he has a believability quotient and he has a responsibility to use that believability quotient in a more, in a better way than just being reckless. So when we set out to attack opinion, it cannot be personal. Personal is attacking the person's personality.
You have mentioned Edmund Burke and the Fourth Estate. We are journalists. Azuri believes that we should act as a pack of dogs against the officialdom to protect the pairs and to fight for the voiceless. You have chosen instead to attack one of the dogs in the pack. Why would you do that?
I have not chosen that. The journalism field is quite broad. And so you would have different aspects of journalism reporting. You have sports reporting, you have business reporting, you have political reporting, which I do. You have investigative reporting, which others do. So people can decide, and media houses elsewhere in places where journalism is very well established, media houses set out an agenda against political parties. So they establish the media house that we belong to this. Even civil society groups like Brookings is democratic in America. The Republicans also have their civil society organizations. So it's okay for a journalist to say that, as far as I'm concerned as a journalist, my philosophy is that I will keep a watchdog on the government. That's fine. There's no problem with that. But if you're keeping a watchdog on the government, you have to do it credibly. If you don't do it credibly, the courts are there to put a check on us. And because we have such a nascent democracy, we don't want the courts coming in as brutally as they would like to. We don't want to give the courts those opportunities. So yes, you can set out that, as far as I'm concerned, my philosophy is that I am going to look at the government with eagle eye. Any government with eagle eye, or every government with eagle eye. That's okay. That's good. That is acceptable. That is necessary for the growth of democracy. There's no problem with that. I can be a journalist and I decide that I know Umar Sanda. I have observed Umar Sanda from Parliament. I think Umar Sanda should run for president. The day Umar Sanda runs for president, I will use my newspaper to support him. That's also fair. That's legitimate. As a journalist, it's very, very legitimate. And that's why you find
projecting an agenda.
It's not an agenda. It is setting out to use your platform to support a politician that you have observed and that you believe in. It's not an agenda. An agenda is creating something that doesn't exist. That's what an agenda is. It's not an agenda.
So if we look at the fourth estate theory, executive, judiciary, legislature, then the media, we are all supposed to counterbalance each other or counter-check each other. If you have decided that instead of counter-checking the legislature or the executive, you're going to be promoting the executive, are you not defying the principle
I've not decided that I'm promoting
No,
the
I'm just
executive.
talking about in this particular context where you choose that this guy, I have to push him till he becomes MP or becomes minister. That is supporting someone.
That's what the New York Times does. Would you say the New York Times is wrong? It's a 200-year-old newspaper. That's what they do for the Democratic Party. They did that for Bill Clinton. They did that for John Kennedy. Would you say the New York Times is a bad newspaper?
Is that what you do?
No, I'm asking you.
Is that what you do?
No, I'm asking you. You are talking about denigrating a situation where an established media platform decides to promote something. I'm saying to you that the New York Times does that. The Concord in Nigeria was doing that for Moshood Abiola. It's a 50-year-old newspaper.
Is that what Good Evening Ghana at 20 years is doing?
But you should answer that question. You've seen Good Evening Ghana for 20 years. Is that what we do?
I haven't seen it for 20 years. I wasn't 20 years
well,
ago.
So
watching,
you should answer that question. It's a question for you to answer. I'm the producer of Good Evening Ghana. You are the viewer. You should make that determination.
There are viewers who, when they see you advertise anybody, any personality, especially under fire politicians, they say, oh, Paul has gone to set an agenda, or Paul is going to set an agenda. Are you an agenda journalist?
I don't understand what you mean by under fire politicians.
So if there's a politician who is in trouble, maybe there's a public backlash over somebody.
Yes.
That person appears on Paul's show, or there's a poster that said he'll be on Paul's show, Good Evening Ghana tonight. People take to social media and say, oh, Paul is an agenda journalist. He's going to help clean this person's mess for him. Is that what you do? Are you a cleaner?
But if you are cleaning people's mess and you, quote and unquote, if you are doing that, you will not be successful. You won't.
Why?
Because if you're cleaning people's mess and it's not cleanable, you will not be successful. There's something in politics and journalism called the tyranny of the majority. There's the tyranny of the majority. So if I see that Peter, I was going to say Mark Menu, Kweku Ajiman Menu is under fire, and I look at the situation and I have a different opinion, and it's a minority opinion, I will still push it intellectually, hoping that those who are willing to look at it objectively will understand me. And a few times we have succeeded in doing that, because the tyranny of the majority can run amok like an unruly horse in a situation like Ghana, in a nascent democracy, where people believe that they are the owners of the process, where some civil society media believe that they are the owners of the process. They orchestrate a tyranny of the majority. I would look at that situation and be sure that what we are doing, the way that we are all running, the Bible says that the broad way may be the wrong way, the narrow way may be the correct one. So I always endeavor to look at whether this situation is not representing the tyranny of the majority. If I find out that it is, I will do my research, and if there's another opinion that people have either overlooked because of enjoying the mob action of the tyranny of the majority, I'll bring out that point. That's what we have been doing, and we've been doing it ferociously.
This tyranny of majority thing that you try to do, is it not equal to
I don't do it. I observe it and try and raise an opinion opposite it.
Yeah, I mean, so you're counter to the tyranny of majority thing. Do you not think that most of the times majority is right, even though majority is not always right?
But the Bible have said that majority, the broad way is the wrong way. Haven't you heard that? I don't know whether most of the time majority is right or majority is wrong. That's not my concern for this analysis. What I'm saying is that
facts. So, for instance,
what I'm saying is that the tyranny, before I come out to make a determination that something is a tyranny of the majority, I will research it and see the facts. And often, many times, we have observed cogent facts that people have overlooked. And what is the tools of our analysis? The 1992 Constitution, the Acts of Parliament, the Acts of Procedure, historical analysis. These are the tools of our analysis. And when we apply these tools and we find that, look, this is wrong, they have overlooked that. They have overlooked the Constitution and they are perpetrating the tyranny of the majority. Our responsibility is to come out and point that out.
You hosted the former PPA boss, the man who was fired by the president clearly because of the work that was done against him. Did you believe that his story was not... Did you believe the majority was being tyrannical against him, for which reason you gave him the platform to do what he did?
No, I didn't give him a platform. I wanted to interrogate him so that my viewers will understand the whole story. That's what we do. We didn't give him platform. We invited him so that we will ventilate the facts. And if you look at the interview, look at the questions that we put to him, you will see that we went out to ventilate the facts so that to viewers can now have an opportunity, because often the news is broad. There's so many news items. People hear it in snipers. They hear headlines and all of that. The other responsibility we have on Good Evening Ghana is that all the things that you have heard in snipers, we will bring you the full story so you can make your decision.
Okay.
So that's what we do. That's what we did with this one. We didn't bring him to we are not defense lawyers.
But if you thought that the person was not being treated fairly and you have a platform, when you bring them, why do you interrogate them? Why don't you lead the person in evidence? Because people think that's what you do.
We are not defense lawyers. We are not doing examination in chief. Neither are we doing cross-examination. We are ventilating the matter.
Do you lead your interviewees?
But that's what I'm saying, that we are not doing examination in chief. I'm answering your question. If we lead them on, we'll be doing examination in chief like they do in a trial.
There are views on your Facebook live feed that suggest that what you are doing is just edge a guy on to say ABC. What do you say to that?
They would have to. I mean, the opinions, as they say, everyone has opinion. But people who express that opinion will have to justify it. What we do is neither cross-examination nor examination in chief. It is to bring the person so that we can have the issue told in the full story. So there's no critical question that we don't ask when people like that come on board. And I have to let you know, and viewers also know, that when we are interviewing people, more often than not, we tell them the questions that we're going to ask them.
No, we give them synopsis. We don't tell them the questions.
You can't tell them the question because it's a live program, but I can tell them questions I'm going to ask them.
You give them synopsis.
No, I tell them questions I'm going to ask them.
What I was taught at the Ghana Institute of Journalism is to share the synopsis, not the questions. Because if you give the person a question, that becomes a commercial paid-for interview, which we do on the Citi breakfast show, where MTN would come with 10 questions, pay for them, and you ask those questions.
You have expressed a very limited opinion on the matter.
Okay.
If you don't give the person the questions, some documents that are relevant will not come to the studio, because at the end of the day, you want your viewers to understand. You have to tell the person, I am going to ask you.
You give questions or areas?
Everything, synopsis, questions, and areas. There are some that you have to give a specific question. I'm going to ask you that the board meeting that was held on 6 so and so, did the minutes say this? You have to bring the minutes to the studio. If you don't tell him that, he may not bring the minutes.
Why don't you say to the person that will discuss issues around the board meeting or the minutes that you had around this?
Because I want him to be fully prepared for the answer that I want.
You are preparing the person to come and give testimony before you. And
have you read Larry King's book?
I haven't.
Okay, you should read Larry King's book. If you believe Larry King was a good interviewer, you should read Larry King's book.
I have read other people. I don't
find anything wrong with giving an interviewer a question. It doesn't mean you're giving him 10 questions, because I don't prepare with questions for the interview. Those who have worked with me here will tell you, I don't walk into the studio with prepared questions. I just start the interview. And on television, I don't have prepared questions. I start the interview and it flows. But when I'm preparing, I said, look, this guy, we have to ask him this. Tell him. We'll be asking him this question. Okay. He has to prepare for it.
When we go for
we don't come on interview to ambush people and surround them and surprise them. Even in court, you are not allowed to surprise. So we don't bring people on the program so that we will surprise them.
But questions can surprise. Questions in court can surprise people.
If it's surprise, the court will underrule it. You don't spring surprises.
Not if you
check the civil procedure rules. You can't spring surprises.
I'm a lawyer, but if
you have lawyers here, ask them. Civil procedure rules, you cannot spring surprises in court.
No, I'm talking about a question, not a document that you are introducing last minute without the judge or the court knowing. Are you saying that
but if
when
a question leads to
someone,
a question will lead to the person being prepared for it, and you don't tell him and you just spring it on him, and he says, I don't have the documents here. For instance, I interviewed E.T. Mensah recently on the Saglame issue.
Yes.
The interview took another direction because it is a live interview. And then he said to me that I didn't bring it. So I asked him that, can you come on Thursday, so that, because this question has to be answered.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I had known, I thought about it and had told him that I'll ask you this question, he would have brought the documents to the studio. Because we didn't know, the documents didn't come, viewers lost the opportunity to clearly understand what it is. Those viewers who couldn't follow us 2 days later on Thursday, either they traveled or they were busy doing something else, have completely lost the opportunity.
Okay.
That's the reason why you have to sometimes, not all the time, sometimes, tell them some specific questions that you'll be asking them.
The way journalists go to meet the president to ask questions, do you think and believe, based on this analysis you've done, that the journalist should send questions ahead of time to the president so he prepares before he answers?
I don't understand your question.
If journalists go to meet the president like we do, where the director of communication or information minister will call us one by one to ask questions, do you think and believe same that journalists should send their questions aforehand before appearing to ask those questions? Because that would sound like what happens in parliament.
Well, it's a matter of choice for people. But if I were a communications person, I would think that yes, for a president who is dealing with the gamut of issues, if he calls a press conference, yes, people must tell him what they're going to ask him. So he's ready for it.
Before.
Yes, but what do you gain by not telling him? Tell me, what do you gain?
You want to test whether he is on the ground.
What does that mean?
It means that you want to be sure whether the president is aware.
So you're going to ask the president that how many district hospitals have you constructed? You don't tell him. You show up and ask him. That is why the president at the one of his press conference, they asked him something about football, and he said, "Oh, he has not prepared for it."
No.
So you think that it's better for you not to ask him, not to tell him, so he doesn't have the documents with him, and then that way you are testing whether he's on the ground.
I would keep my questions if I believe they are a question of a national character the president should be in the know of. I would keep that question and ask him.
But the ones that the president should be in the know of is obvious. It's fundamental. It's not something that people would dispute about.
So if
you want to get a critical press conference out for people to see real issues, the president must have the documents. Is he going to lie about documents?
No, but if the president has promised that I'll build 88 hospitals, let's say next year there's a press briefing like that, before the president shows up before journalists, he should know that unless these journalists are sleeping, they would ask a question about that. He should be prepared. He shouldn't say
yes, but he can't prepare. He's going to meet 17, 20, 30 journalists. He can't prepare for all. You see, I don't believe in that. I believe in journalism that is intellectual. I don't believe in journalism that is ambushing. If the documents don't lie. So we used to sit in this city newsroom. We don't talk to anybody. We take the budget of 2003, take the budget of 2004, and run analysis on it.
Okay.
It's information. You can ask the president that, Mr. President, I'll be asking you that in the 2004 sessional address, you said this. It is in your paragraph 34. Look at it. I'll be asking you that paragraph 34 of your 2011 sessional address actually contradicts your paragraph 30 of 2012. You have told him.
Okay.
So why don't you want to tell him that? Why do you want to ambush him?
You are a journalist, correct? Of course, you are a journalist.
People should make that determination. I don't know.
Okay, I'm asking this question for two reasons. One, you were serving on the National Communications Authority Board. Are you still serving?
Well, all boards have been terminated in January, according to a letter written by the
So you served for the last, yes. Good, for Absolutely. 4 years. You were you were working there under a board that has a minister in charge.
Somebody sends me a text to tell you that CNN set out to push Trump away. Fox set out the same for the Republican. No. Sending questions of a briefing is actually the standard in America. A journalist says, I should tell you, Sanda. No it says sending questions ahead of the briefing is the standard in America.
Which journalist is this, please?
I can show you his name. Maybe he doesn't want his name mentioned.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. But that is it. So this kind of ambush journalism, I've been against it for a very long time.
If you serve on a board,
NCA, yeah.
If you serve on a board, are you serving in the government?
Well, to some extent, you see, the definition of the government, it's interesting in the 1992 Constitution. And there again, if you're a journalist and you want to understand the definition of the government, you go to the 1992 Constitution. You don't guess it. So if you look at the 1992 Constitution, if you look, for instance, at Article 88, it says that the Attorney General shall be the principal legal advisor to the government. You see, there's a difference between the state and the government, but it's kind of blurry. So the state of Ghana is the constant in the equation. The government of Ghana is the variable. But when the government is in place, it occupies the state. So if you ask this question, I'm not sure different political scientists and lawyers will answer it differently. You can also say that the NCA, the National Communication Authority, is a state institution. And therefore, if you serve with the NCA, you are serving with the state as opposed to the political government.
Okay. But you are appointed by a political government.
But that's the point I'm making. That the government occupies the state in the equation.
Good.
The state is the constant. The government is the variable. The government occupies the state in the equation. So the Ghana Armed Forces is the state. But its actors are appointed by the president.
Politicians.
The judicial service is the state. But its actors are appointed by the government. So when Article 88 says that the Attorney General shall be the principal legal advisor to the government, does it mean the government, the political government elected by the people, or does it mean the constant state in the equation? So it's an argument.
So the reason I brought the NCA thing is,
yeah,
how do you truly hold the government in check when you are in the government?
Yeah, but we are dealing with whether or not being the NCA is part of the political government or is part of the state. Have you answered that question?
Yours was a political government.
How is it a political government? The National Communication Authority.
Who put you there?
But that's so the Chief Justice is a political government.
Let's deal with you. Who put you
but
there?
it's the same thing. You can't say deal with me. It's the same thing, Umar.
No,
Let's deal with the law.
No, the Chief Justice is not a journalist.
The Chief Justice is appointed.
I know.
By the Chief Justice position ought to be more neutral than any journalist. That's the point I'm making.
I know.
So if you are saying that a person appointed on the board of the National Communication Authority, which is the board of directors of the National Communication Authority, not the full-time management, the board of directors, if you are making suggestions and allusions that that person once appointed into the National Communication Authority by the government, by the president, the elected president, then becomes a member of the government, then I'm suggesting to you that by the same token, the learned Chief Justice appointed by the political authority, the army commander, the IGP, appointed by the political authority to occupy a state position, becomes a part of the government. That's a fallacy.
So look at it this way. You host a TV show. NCA.
Are you satisfied that an appointment by the president to a state institution does not make it political?
Let's leave.
Are you satisfied with that?
Let's leave my listeners to tell us whether they're satisfied.
Well, okay.
You are a host of a show. NCA is in trouble. The board chairman appears before you. You are a member of his board. How can you really truly ask him questions, the hard questions?
Say that again. You are a state what?
You are a journalist. You're hosting a show. NCA board chair appears. You are under his board, or you are on his board.
He appears on my show.
Yeah, because there's an issue with NCA.
Yeah, but if I'm serving on the NCA board or the National Communication Authority as a state appointee, I cannot discuss NCA matters on my platform.
So it means viewers of Metro TV or viewers of Good Evening Ghana would lose anything that has to do with NCA.
But that's why we have a plural media. Do you understand what a plural media means?
You can go elsewhere and talk, but not on Good Evening Ghana.
But that should be very obvious to you.